Hello trainers, and welcome to the making of the thumbnail for Goodra. This one took me about an hour and 10 minutes, which is longer than it could have been, but not only was I experimenting with a lot of effects, partially due to mistakes I make, but also my 1-year-old cat was being a bit of a butthole, so I had to keep stopping and getting interrupted to go, redirect him or scold him, because he has the spirit of a kitten but the abilities of an adult, and it is a oh so fun combination. But starting with the face, as I always like to start with the forwardmost layer. I also made the eyes super shiny. I'm getting really good at shiny effects, I've noticed, with goo and slime and drool. I am going to be so good at shiny goop by the end of all this. So I started the lines with the wrong color. I am used to a older version of Paint.net, and I hadn't fully realized it had updated. So in the older version that I was used to, whenever you use the color select tool, it doesn't matter if it's the primary color or the secondary color. Whatever you select, like left click was primary, right click was secondary, I was used to the fact whatever you selected, it would remain on that. So if you had right-clicked, like I had did for the darker pink, when you would do that, it would stay on that color. So in my mind, it's like, oh, I selected my line color, so therefore it should be on my line color. And I don't notice for the whole process that it is the wrong pink. I notice eventually, which is then when I start doing my first effect experiment. But I don't notice until I start coloring the skin, and I'm like, wait, this is backwards. Making my layers. And yeah, right here at this clown Goodra moment, got a little clown Goodra. So if I had just used the fill like I attempted to do, it actually expands the thickness of the line, which I really didn't want. So I used the select tool to at least limit the range, and then I filled it. But unfortunately, doing that, it leaves it looking very pixelated and not as smooth. So I'm just going in, filling the main color of the body for now, and then I eventually do a couple of effects to soften and play with the lines. Because then I also play with a little happy accident mentality of playing with softening the edges. So here you see I'm using a half transparency eraser to just soften it. And then I'm going in a little harder to try to get those jagged pixel edges out. And now I'm just playing with the transparency level overall. Because Goodra is a slimy, gooey, soft creature, so it kind of makes sense that they wouldn't have the harshest, rigid outlines. So, with a mix of playing around with transparency and softening, it's like, yeah, this looks alright. You know, you can still definitely see the defining edges. Yeah, I'm still trying to soften it up a bit, because I could have erased it all and gone back and redone it all, but I really didn't want to. It's like I had already made all the lines. It's like I'll just fix the lines. Now we're going into the purple underbelly, because with all of my Ditto parodies, the primary color is my Ditto colors, and then I use the rest of the natural Pokemon color. Once again, I seem to have missed a technical detail with I guess those would be the horns? Because the antennae are in front of them, unless there's... I'm not exactly sure the biology of a Goodra, but the really big curly things, I realized that technically you would be able to see the second one, but I honestly didn't add it because I kind of like this really short, almost pigtail, like preppy pigtail look I had going. So I definitely recognize that was a mistake, and it probably should have put it in, but I didn't mind how the end result was. So now I am making the signature bra that is loosely based on and inspired by the Dream Pokeball. I had been debating if I want to redesign it to look more properly like a dream ball, but I think it's more fun to have like my OC Pokeball design. Yeah, I didn't bother coloring in the nip area of the belly until I had put the, I guess, the pasty part of the bra on. And for the design, it's always just the transparent purple and reds going swish, swish, swish back and forth in the underboob, and then getting them bra straps on. I initially had it like laying on top of the boob, but there it's like, it looks more better if the boob is like sticking out in front. So it almost looks more like she's like pushing them out. And now the slime part. I just keep drawing. I started with drawing drool a lot, and I already do the slime girl shine a lot. So these skills are just honing in a lot. It's kind of like the joke, you can tell what a furry draws a lot by how detailed a certain part is, be it like the mouth or the feet. And so it's like, I just draw slime a lot. I also kind of enjoy the suggestive shape of that chin goo there. So with the background, I use the original body colors of the Goodra, decided to go with a bit of a gradient. I later down the road will flip it because I also have a overlaying effect where it's going to be a sheet of slime, and inverting the colors just makes the bottom slime stand out a bit more. And deciding on the text lettering, I decided the sort of almost kind of hippie flower power type of text, and then popping the DDD logo in. And so now I am going to work on the sheet slime. This is where the most experimentation was. It was a combination of effects of render cloud, dense, and Gaussian blur. Dense in particular gave it a more wavy look. Yeah, that look right there. So I started with the render clouds because it makes this really cloudy, powdery, like almost, what would you call it? Like static kind of effect. And then the dense make everything swish around and give it that really kind of trippy oil slick type of look. And then the Gaussian blur like makes it look more kind of latex almost. But the dents are the effect that are doing it the most. So here I'm trying to decide where to cut off the sheet of goo because I didn't want it to be a solid wall of it. Here you see me kind of experimenting with it, but it just doesn't quite give the impression well enough. So now, kind of like a finger to a mirror of steam, I'm drawing little lines to map out where I want it to be. And I thought some drips and holes might also give it a more like chunky feeling, because it's not just a thin slime. Like, this is supposed to be like slug lube level slime. That is a sentence I never thought I would say. So here, again, to make it look a bit more chunky rather than just a thin film, giving it the more cascading layered effect. Excuse me. Making the undershadows, and eventually I'll go in with the highlights. I found to make anything pop, I weirdly discovered this with looking at dating sims a lot, character designs, because again, with my media, it's supposed to be the voice, and I just wanted to make the thumbnails for making the posts. On a lot of the websites that I post my audio, they require a thumbnail. So I've studied minimalist methods, and so I actually looked at dating sims a lot to look at their characters' designs, and I have found the minimal you need is the base color, a shadow color, and a shine color, which is kind of what I'm doing with the slime. It's like, yes, I have the pattern, but ultimately there's the base color, there's that underlining shadow, which I cleaned up and gradiated the bottom of it, and then the shine. I use that a lot for my characters. I emphasize on the shine more than shadow. In fact, on my characters, I don't use much of any shadow. I more so use gradients. but those are the three things you need to make a very to give a simple character pop, I have found. So even if I didn't use the textures or anything, it would be base color, shine, shadow. So as you see here, like I was saying, using all the Ditto Shine. I never really care about light source for the Ditto Shine, for the Slime Girl Shine, because she's extra shiny. With very few of these, I care about the light source. Like I believe with Lilligant, I kind of did, but I didn't fret over it terribly much. It's more so I like it at the height of curves. Wherever there's a curve at the very height of it, I try to put the shine on, and I don't know, that it's aesthetically pleasing to me. So doing the scroll out, step back. There's also an effect I did on the lettering in the background that I did not record because I went back in to do it for the DDD and the numbers, which you'll see right here. I went back, and on that layer I did the dense effect again and just tweaked the adjustments so you can still kind of tell what you're looking at. The 29, the 9 in particular, got a little messy, but it is because it was mostly for the DDD, because the DDD is supposed to be under the slime, so I thought it looked more fun with the effect of it, like, having that distortion on top of it. And that is how I did Goodra. I hope you all enjoyed this little time lapse of our fan voted favorite. There is a link to the publicly edited original post for the audio that accompanied this thumbnail, as well as a playlist of other thumbnail time lapses, and there's also other Pokemon episodes that you can find on my channel. I would really appreciate it if you subscribed, showed your support, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.